to us. So there's a couple of new individuals that we want to invite to the panel. One of those is Shirley Ike from Wood, if you could join us at the panel. Peter Van Schweik from XM Pro, representing the DTC. And we need a couple of speakers to join the panel as well. So let's go with Nick and Justin. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I meant Kyle. Come on over. Yeah, I meant to. Yeah, I was looking right at you, and I said Nick. So sorry about that. We had already discussed this earlier. Yeah. Thanks. So maybe we'll start with Shirley. You haven't had a chance to present, so let's hear a little bit about Wood as a member of the ecosystem around digital twins and also a change agent. Tell us what you do at Wood.
How long do I have? Can you guys hear me? Because I sometimes speak low. So my name is Shirley Ike. I'm a global director for data management for Wood. We support clients with data operation and digital asset management. What is that? It's anything from like data governance to integrity to compliance. Kind of supporting clients and bringing context to enable integration and interoperability and enabling 1D, 2D, 3D data sets and intelligent 3D systems. So what do we do and how do we actually do it? We have lots of people with engineering background, but not only that, but we have BIM experts. We have lifecycle information management experts. We have folks who have IT/OT integration, solution architects, card modelers, et cetera, within Wood. So we support clients in operationalizing the 3D model. Like everyone has said today, 3D it's not just a 3D model. You have to actually make it into a twin in the first place. And how do you operationalize that twin? It goes from the visual twin, which is the 3D model, the 360 images, the point cloud data, to context twin, where you now map it to data sets like in DMS systems, ALIM, et cetera. And then you can move on to like maintenance twins and integrity twin, which is now where you incorporate corrosion circuits, things like just maintenance visualization. And then the last but not least is that dynamic aspect when you then pull in the real-time data. And that's really the perfect scenario. That's the perfect twin right there, all integrated in one space. And that's really what we support our clients with. And thanks a lot for presenting such a good presentation, Justin. So yeah, that's really my quick introduction. Hopefully that was quick.
Excellent, yeah. So Peter, over to you. So you have a special role with your involvement in the Digital Twin Consortium and also CEO and founder of XM Pro. Tell us about you and what you do.
Thank you. So I'm Peter van Schalkwijk. I'm the CEO at XM Pro, and I'm probably more the chief technology enthusiast. So we create digital twin-based real-time operational processes that and I like what Mike Carroll said earlier, that help you give competitive advantage. So, for us, it's about how do you gain competitive advantage using these types of technologies. And for us, it's predominantly around decision support in these operational processes. So there's a decision support, decision augmentation, and now lately with all the AI, some decision automation. So having agents and things. And that's also looking at my role in the DTC, a Digital Twin Consortium. I'm the chair one of the co-chairs of the combined AI joint working group for OMG, multiple consortia. So
it's the acronym.
Don't get us started on acronyms. That's a 6-month journey. And then I'm also chair for the composability framework group. Now inside that, and which is really looking at some of the things that we've seen here. It's not so much technology. We've seen some great examples of technology. In the Digital Twin Consortium, we're trying to remove the technology from the capability. So, and through that, in some work that I've done previously and also with some of the other members, created the capabilities periodic table, 61 elements in that. And it talks around how do you create standards at a certain level. Carl was talking about USD from a visualization, but you have connectivity, you've got storage, you've got intelligence. Now they've got AI all over the place. How do we bring those in? So we've got 6 core kind of categories in the capabilities periodic table: data acquisition, integration, intelligence, UX, management, and trustworthiness. I'm glad I got all 6. But that's kind of, and then inside that, there's like 61 capabilities, different maturity. So separating that so that you can create for different, so not every twin has 61 capabilities, but you can pick from that and then focus more on what is it you want the twin to do. Separate that technology, as you're saying, the software, the hardware, and the data from each other. And that's kind of my role inside DTC, is to lead some of those efforts.
Thanks, Peter. Okay, so I know we are getting short on time, and I'm certainly going to respect it when we have events later on today. Are there any questions from the attendees? And if you do have a question, please stand up, state your name and your company, and if you want to direct that towards an individual, that's okay too. Yeah, we got a question over there, Lucas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dave Rocha from Walters Kluwer. Question more about 2025 milestones. I guess what are it's for all of you in the panel really, what are the key things you're looking to achieve today, and what value you're looking to derive from that?
Anybody want to take that?
I can go first. One of those things that we're heavily focused on is building the right foundations and the scalable foundations. Somebody talked about it earlier. Those things for us is how do we actually separate the software from the data, so we have interoperability between our twins. Huge focus on that. We've also got a pretty large effort over the next couple of years to be able to digitize every one of our assets. Extremely excited about that aspect of stuff. And in 2025, it takes a lot of preparation to be able to get to there. I mean, if you think about what that means for a company like us, it's a lot of manpower.
I mean, I think I can maybe.
Yeah, go ahead, Shirley, please.
So I think for us, really, one of the things I wanted to kind of make a note of is how we need to kind of start leveraging Gen AI a little bit more in this space, because it's basically going like this, exponentially growth, and it's one of the uses I see for it is kind of using it for the data mining, the structuring, the workflow automation, using it for decision support, dashboarding, visualization, etc. And that's really makes all of the work processes that we actually pull together to enable digital twins literally a lot quicker. And that's something that we're also integrating into the work that we do within Wood. We have a data and Gen AI team that support all of the Wood teams right across.
So it almost seems like, a lot of what we have been working on, I think milestones are really important. The work we're doing with the reality capture guardrails for industry is certainly important, but that's not really AI, right? But we're all talking about AI. This is an AI conference. So, and we heard from the keynotes this morning about the vision for AI driven approaches. So in terms of, going forward, do you think that AI will complicate the interoperability discussion? Will it make it easier to support agentic AI? Does anybody have any thoughts on that? We'll start with you, Peter.
Yeah, I've got some thoughts on that. And it's really interesting to see what you're doing with kind of the visual way of work. Now imagine that you have agentic AI where I now have virtual employees accompanying me in that virtual space. Yeah. So now the interoperability is not just about, does this pipe connect to that pipe? It's actually, how does these new avatars fit into that new virtual environment? And again, those are things that we look at from a digital twin consortium. What guidance can we provide? How can we separate that? How can we provide some logic? We don't necessarily have all the answers, so we need people like who work from the industry to join up and look at those. But we see that from a interoperability. I mean, if you look at the complexity that we had going from 5 screens to 10 screens, and now I'm stepping into an infinite screen that I can navigate. So from a cognitive load, and how we use things like agents and all that to support that. But I think it introduces a next level of interoperability challenges. It's not just about what we know from an engineering perspective, but how do we now bring in some of these other capabilities. And again, from my perspective, it's like, how do we map that into a capabilities periodic table? But
Which
just,
you did.
but
Dan?
But yeah, so and again, I think that's the guidance that will be needed in 2025 to also go back to, from a milestones perspective, from a DTC perspective. This is what we are looking at, is how can we help? Because yes, it does increase the complexity, I would say, exponentially. And we would need to support that.
Yeah, the only thing I'd throw on top of that is, as long as you have those pillars set up appropriately, I think it's a boost. If the pillars are not set up appropriately, then it is a hard deterrent, from being able to scale. But I think in Michael's presentation earlier today, you actually saw that it was like a boost to productivity if you actually have all the pillars in the right place, and all of our interoperable standards in the right place. That is still the hard part, but I think it's a boost at the end of the day.
So Justin, one of your comments in your presentation was about the increased amount of work that's taking place on the virtual asset.
Yeah.
So do you see the amount of AI accelerating on top of that in the future? Because I think we're all here to look at the markets as well, like, and what's in it for me, all of us, whether we make software or service provider, and we want to accelerate technology. So do you see a change in the amount of actual work on the virtual assets?
Yeah, I mean, we've been increasing dramatically the amount of AI we're using in our systems. Kind of a segue between the question you just asked and the one previously is one thing we see being important in specifically generative AI is being an integrator between systems. You can ask it a question and it can navigate APIs behind the scenes to query different systems in the way that each of those systems understand, without you, the data analyst or data engineer, having to understand each of those systems. The thing we have to watch out for is we need to mitigate hallucinations and make sure that there are not abstractions being made that are more correlations and not causations. So you have problems where between those disparate systems, you have to figure out how you mitigate, oh, well, we've noticed these two things happened on the same day, but they're unrelated.
Any other questions? Oh, we got one over here. Megan. I think it's Megan.
Just yell it to us.
Thanks. Just to pile on to that topic. So there's obviously a theme where we all understand that the way we're capturing data from the field, the methods in which we're doing that, and the quality of that data is continuing to evolve to make sure we're capturing things that are intelligent and useful outputs that can feed into our models. So with that alongside the AI conversation here, at what stage do you say that your data, the way you're capturing the data, or the kinds of data inputs that you want to feed into your model are mature enough or trustable enough, or I guess established enough, you're not going to be changing too many things, that you can start to train those models and apply those models without having to restart the initiatives or the efforts at some stage later in the game?
Great question.
Yeah.
Who wants to go for that?
You want to go first? Or you first?
Go for it.
I think the biggest thing is establishing a source of truth for visual information. I don't think that's been done well enough within our industry, right? I think we've governed based off of drawings and documents like that. But if I don't have a governable source of visual information in the first place, and what that means, it's chaos. But I would say we're there at that point right now, where we are setting up the guardrails and the guidance, and here's the platforms to be able to store all that information to supercharge it. I don't know if that answered your question or not.
I'd say in terms of understanding when your data is ready to get into training models and when it will not cause further issues, the first thing that I would say is be careful of how much data you put in from a historical standpoint that you haven't gone through your more modern QA/QC processes. I've talked about this, I think, at this conference last year before I ended up having to leave early. But similar problem of, one of the first approaches a lot of companies throw to big data lake and AI is, let's throw every bit of data we have at it. Yeah. Let's throw every bit of data we have at it and see what conclusions we can come to. Well, the answer is bad conclusions. If you take all of the data from before you learned from your mistakes and moving forward, you're going to have insights drawn off of the data that has the incorrect assumptions in it. And so there's a level of trust in there, and I think this is something that needs to be developed in our AI models going forward, is a point of timeliness to it, or time awareness, because the things you're ingesting should have a 90% confidence in things within X number of years, a 60% confidence in things, beyond that. And if you go past the let's say 10, 15, 30, or in some of BP's data, 90-year mark, you're going to say this data should inform what's going on, but it shouldn't be the key tenets about what you're drawing your conclusions off of. And I don't think there's a really good answer to it yet, but the introduction of explainable AI and being able to figure out where the AI got its conclusions from and what sources it used to come to those conclusions is the first step in the right direction for that.
Sometimes you don't have enough data. And when you don't have enough data, what do you do then, right? And I think one of the things that we've sort of explored is like the use of physics-based models, and then using that to train agents, et cetera. And that's just my only input there, really, because my experience is that you never really have enough data that covers the entire bell curve. You normally have all the data all centered in the middle, and it doesn't really allow you to train that AI model right across, right? So it's important to try to think about that. How do you cover those outliers?
Okay, so we're almost out of time. Peter, would you like to offer some closing comments and recommendations?
Close this out.
Well, yeah. So as we bring AI in this, the additional complexities and kind of from a data perspective and a digital twin model perspective, it's always start at the use case. What's the problem I'm trying to solve? Before you're trying to collect all the data in the world and potentially don't have the information that you need. So start with the problem that you have. Understand what analytic will give you the answer to the problem, and then look for the data that supports that. And that data, to do it at a scalable level, you need some model-based approach to support that. Otherwise, it's a one-off kind of exercise, and that's where the digital twin part for me fits in. And I think that's the opportunity with this open asset digital twin initiative, is to kind of marry those, looking at what's happening with the AI, looking at what's happening with data, and looking at how do we do this at a scalable level is the opportunity that we have. And I think that's also why, from a liaison perspective between DTC and the open initiative, we are pretty excited about what we could do in that space.
Sounds like you need a composability framework.
And if you can do this on a periodic table for digital twins, that's even better.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks everyone for joining the session. Please join me in a round of applause for the speakers and panelists.
Thank you.